Affleck. Hopefully the audio's okay, because I was having a bit of an issues before that. If anybody in the chat has any issues with the audio, let me know. But, so, guess what? I thought, we figured out, guys. We now understand why The Witcher sucked. Why the last few seasons have sucked. And the answer, according to one of the producers, is because you're too stupid. You. It's your fault. It's not me who's wrong. It's you who's clearly wrong here. This is literally the Skinner meme. Am I wrong? No, it's the kids who are wrong. You're the idiot. You're too stupid. You don't get it. And we're going to break that down, along with other news. And, of course, if I was going to talk about The Witcher, I kind of had to watch a little bit of Season 3, and it's a total mess. So we're going to break that down, too. So, welcome to the newest episode of SDW.
Super Dario World!
Alright, so like I said, I'm concerned about the audio. So David Martinez, Mob Nasty, thank you for joining me. Hopefully, if there's anything that sounds too weird, you'll let me know. If not, I'll just continue as if things were normal. But yeah, I don't know, it sounds weird in my ears. I had to move some stuff around. I don't know what the hell's going on, but it's been a mess lately. I know that audio's been kind of iffy lately. But before we get into this topic, all right, Mob Nasty says I'm good. I'll just continue on assuming that I'm good. First off, it's Laid Back Monday, so let's cheers, everybody. Hopefully you could hear that. I'm going to pour a cold one because, as always, it is too freaking hot here in this tiny studio. I still haven't got an AC. Honestly, that should be like at the top of my to-do list, but, you know, life gets in the way. I got some news for you guys before we even get started on all the news, because there's some interesting bits of news today over the week. Cheers, everybody. Thanks for joining me. Interesting bits of news. So first off, as always, things are going to change. I just got a new job, and it starts in a few weeks, but the schedule will hopefully not interfere with the schedule that I have for the podcast. Hopefully things will still stay at 5 p.m. I don't know. It depends. I'm going to have to get up crazy early in order to make it work, and it's not going to work every single day, but hopefully things stay the same. Gus Becerra News, are you pregnant? Not that I know of. I mean, it's not in the plans yet, and so I'm hoping I'm not pregnant, but you never know. You know, life sometimes, you know, surprises you. But yeah, in terms of news, that's the big change. I got a new job. Yay, I'm going to make money again. Unfortunately, this may come into conflict with the podcast. Hopefully it won't. Like I said, hopefully it won't, because from what I talked with my employer, I should be free by the time that this podcast is, you know, supposed to go on the air. So hopefully it'll be okay. I don't know how it's going to go. Every single time I change jobs or anything, the schedule always gets messed up. So we'll see how it goes. As of right now, I'm hoping that everything will stay the same. So I'll keep you posted as things go along. So what I do need to say very specifically is this Wednesday. So this Wednesday, Underrated Gems, we will have an issue because I kind of fucked up in my head, my calendar. And I'm not going to be, since I'm going to be setting up stuff, I don't know if you guys know, I've mentioned this, I'm going on vacation on Thursday, but I need to set some stuff up on Wednesday. So Underrated Gems, I'm probably just going to do it way earlier. I don't want to pre-record it. I want to do it live. But so I'll probably just move it to like 11 a.m. Pacific or something. Just, you know, so that I can actually do it, but still have time to do absolutely every single thing else that I have to do. We'll see how that goes. Priority, SDW first always. Listen, priority number one is eating, right? I need to make money in order to eat so I don't die. What is it? If you're stuck in the woods, you need shelter, water, food. So those are priorities 3. So I need to pay my rent. I need to be able to afford food and water. So those are priorities. Afterwards is entertainment. And so since I'm not planning on moving into the woods, I'm still planning on living in the city. I kind of need to make money. So there you go. Hopefully within these 2 weeks, the podcast just blows up. It becomes super successful. I start making tons of money, and I don't need to do any other jobs. But so far, you know, that's not in the cards yet. At least it doesn't look like it. Still needs to. They say that it takes a podcast 5 years in order for it to become successful. So, we're still working on it. We're still on the grind. The key is, being consistent, finding your rhythm, finding what works, what doesn't, stuff. So we're still in the process. You're still in the process. So hopefully, it'll still work out and the formula doesn't change, to it needs 10 years to be successful or something. I don't know. We'll see how that goes. But there's nothing, it's not really in my hands. Anyway, well, it's in my hands to continue doing it. So there's something. So there you go. Those are the two pieces of news. One, this Wednesday, Underrated Gems will happen at 11 a.m. It'll be Wind River. For those of you, I got an image here for it if you want to check it out. Wind River is a mystery thriller. It's a cop movie, a mystery drama thriller. So the trivia for that week, again, 11 a.m., is going to be mystery thriller. That's the theme. I already have the questions for it because I have to prepare everything earlier than I usually do. So I already started preparing the questions. So again, trivia for that week will be mystery thriller stuff. But yeah, great movie. I highly recommend it if you've never seen it. And again, there's a bunch of places you can see it for free. I have the notes here. Let me just check them real quick. You could see it for free on Hoopla or on Pluto TV with ads and Freebie with ads, or just rent it on Prime. So there you go. In case you are planning on being a part of the book club, which is listen, it's going good. People seem to enjoy it, and I enjoy doing it. So come be part of the fun. Hopefully it's so successful that I'm like, man, I can't cut this one out. I have to do Underrated Gems every Wednesday because it'd be stupid of me not to do it. But we'll see how that goes. Let's get into the news of this week. And again, it's going to be a very, very slow news summer because, it's basically because of the strikes. So there's not a ton happening in the entertainment industry, but interesting bits and pieces of news have been popping up, and I like it, so we'll break it down. So we'll begin with a little bit of Blue Beetle news. So for those of you who don't know, Blue Beetle is it's the newest DC character that's getting his new movie. Basically, imagine he's very similar to Green Lantern. Like alien tech came to Earth, attached to his body, and now he can create weapons that he imagines. So it's kind of like Iron Man meets Green Lantern, because Green Lantern is kind of like his imagination and it's not real what he's producing. Blue Beetle is actually an armor that is actually creating stuff, so a bit different in that sense. But anyway, it'll be coming out in theaters August 18th. Supposedly, according to James Gunn, who is now the head or a co-head of the whole DC Cinematic Universe, this will be the first actual DC Cinematic Universe movie. We'll see how it goes. And I'm immediately concerned. Not just because, the DC Cinematic Universe has always been a mess, but because apparently they changed where this movie's taking place. So I don't know a lot of, to be honest with you, I don't know a lot about Blue Beetle, because to me, it just sounded stupid to have, the character just seems stupid to have right next to Green Lantern. It really didn't make any sense. It's like, all right, Green Lantern, Blue Beetle, seems stupid, and I like Green Lantern. But Blue Beetle supposedly always took place in El Paso, Texas. According to Xolo Maridueña, who's the actor who's playing Blue Beetle, for those of you who don't know him, he plays Menudo in Cobra Kai. He's a nice kid. I actually met him at Comic-Con. We interviewed him. He's a cool kid. I'm very happy for him. The main reason why I'm going to watch the movie, it's not to support DC, it's not to support James Gunn, not for any of these things. It's to support Xolo, who, again, I had a brief conversation with him, but he seemed like a nice kid. He seemed excited about it, so, good for him. To me, that's enough. I was like, I met you, I liked you, I'm going to support you. So that's why I'm planning on watching it. But according to this interview, they created a new city for Blue Beetle. So instead of making it El Paso, Texas, they made it Palmera City because, and I quote, "the hero deserves his own city." Which, all right, it seems kind of silly, but okay. And it's apparently this Latino metropolis. It's really weird. Let me see. I'll just read this for you. First off, with Palmera City, which is what it's called, It's a city made specifically for our movie and for this storyline that we're making with Blue Beetle. Originally, the character takes place in El Paso, Texas, and we decided to make it in Palmyra. Blue Beetle deserves its own city, right? Batman has Gotham, Superman has Metropolis, and we wanted to have a world that felt like it was reminiscent of the cultural that Jaime grew up in. Jaime is the name of the character. It has the sound of a place like Rio, or the smell of Boyle Heights, or the people of El Paso, but it's a metropolis of Latinos. And I think it helped bring the story, for me, like an American story, to a worldwide kind of picture. So, listen, I get what he's trying to say. DC makes up their cities, right? You have Coastal City, Central City, all that stuff. So why not just make up another one? I get it. It's just, I don't know. It seems something really dumb to change. Why change up? I guess, well, the concern here is they wanted to change it so that they could make their, basically, a Latino Wakanda. It's what it feels like, right? Like a Latino metropolis. I mean, there are Latino metropolis. I think it's called LA. So there's places where there are big cities where it's majority Latino. So I get it. It's DC. If you're making stuff up, just make stuff up. I understand. Just seems weird, and it concerns me as to what they're trying to do. And the thing that really concerns me is they're basically want to make a Latino Wakanda, which, all right, we'll see how it works. I just don't like those types of changes because they usually make it to force the story in a direction they want to go instead of just, going with the actual storyline of the character. We'll see how it goes. Sinville, sounds like they're trying to appeal to the Latino community. Problem is, if they botch it, there will be so much hate. Listen, I understand appealing to the Latino community, and this is something that they've tried really hard to do for a really long time. I remember a few summers ago, I was working on writing the pilot of a TV show that was specifically a Latino TV show, or it had a lot of Latino main characters, because the producer that I was working with, he got the rights to the story, but he was looking specifically a Latino story because they were like, dude, it's a big market. Everybody wants to push that market right now, so let's work on something that's for them. But they kind of don't like Latino culture that much, or they end up doing stuff that's either the most negative or the most stereotypical. Like, for example, Narcos. I mean, listen, I get it. Okay, it's interesting. The criminal underground stuff from Mexico, super interesting stuff. But is it the thing that makes Latinos? Is it representative of the true Latino community? I don't think so. I mean, it's a reality of it. Like, the mafia is a part of, like, let's say the Italian community. It's a reality. But does it really represent that community? Is it something... I don't know about you, but if somebody leaves the country because there's too many, criminals, you don't want to make shows about the criminals, because they won't want to watch it. You want to see something that elevates your culture. I don't know. It's weird. I haven't seen a show yet that makes me feel proud of, being a Mexican. At least not, I haven't seen it. Or off the top of my head, I'm like, yeah, that was proper representation. And I think actually representation is always kind of stupid. So appealing to a market, I get it, but appealing to a market because of representation seems kind of stupid. I don't know. At least I don't feel like it, or at least it's not something that's appealing to me. Maybe that's too personal. I like things being following the rules of the world that they've created. If you make rules for this world, just follow those rules, make things be logical, and I don't care about really anything else other than you following the rules that you set up, because otherwise you give me a headache. But we'll see how this goes. Like I said, I met the kid, I like the kid, I wish him the best, so I will watch the movie. I'm just immediately concerned. Immediately. Which is not a good way to enter. Actually, you know what? It might be better, because I might come out pleasantly surprised. We'll see. Next, a little bit of news. Director Greta Gerwig has been attached to direct the next Narnia movie. So, for those of you who don't know, Netflix has acquired the rights to the C.S. Lewis book, the Chronicles of Narnia, and they have, I don't know if it's going to be a TV show or a movie or both, but they will be adapting for something, a Netflix thing. And for those of you who don't know, Greta Gerwig is the director of the movie Barbie, Lady Bird, and Little Women. I haven't seen Barbie. I don't really plan on paying to watch it because, it's not a movie that's made for me, so I don't care. Lady Bird, I think I watched it, or just I started watching it and then I stopped because, I moved on with my life. And I very clearly remember Little Women, and I was bored to tears. I thought it was a terrible movie. I don't know why it was nominated for an Oscar. I thought it was really bad. The movie starts by spoiling itself. I don't get it. I didn't get it. Everybody's like, oh, it's a fantastic film. I disagree. Florence Pugh had an amazing performance in it, and that's the best thing I could say about the movie. Everything else wasn't great. Anyway, the reason why this is happening is because obviously Greta Gerwig made a movie that made a lot of money, and so now everybody wants to work with her. Netflix is one of those people. They probably offered her the most money, and now she will be adapting the Chronicles of Narnia. It's not exactly clear which movie she's going to do. I'm assuming it's The Lion. All right, let's see. Before Netflix acquired the rights, Disney made it. Okay, no. So I'm assuming they have the rights to all of them. I don't know why they would pick her specifically to do a fantasy movie, because all the movies that she's done before aren't. Well, I guess Barbie counts as fantasy comedy. It would be a comedy. But Chronicles of Narnia is fantasy, but it's like a deeply religious fantasy. Like, Aslan is basically Jesus Christ, for those of you who don't know. So, I don't know, she just, in her movies, I haven't really seen that type of stuff, that message. I've seen the comedy side, sure. I've seen the drama, but fantasy, religious fantasy, let's just say I haven't seen it. So I'm concerned. So she might be popular right now. Adapting it, we'll see. But I don't... Listen, I wanted them to make a remake of the Chronicles of Narnia because they're great books. They're phenomenal books. I love them. I specifically love the one that's a prequel book. Let me just check out the names. Book order. Because I forget the name, but... The Magician's Nephew, The Wizard's Boy, Prince Caspian, The Voice of Dawn, Silverchair. I believe The Magician's Nephew is the prequel, and I really enjoyed it. I thought that was really I thought that was a great book. Could she do that one? Sure. I guess it's the least magical out of all of them, but we'll see. I don't know. Voice of the Dawn Trader, Silverchair, Magician's Nephew. Oh, Masked Man. Thank you. Yes. But yeah, I think The Magician's Nephew is the prequel. It tells you how basically the creation of Narnia, how the witch got there. So I like that one for her, but I'm concerned. Again, I'm concerned. I'm always concerned when they grab somebody who is not an expert at a particular topic or a particular style or anything, and they just throw them in there because they're popular at the moment. I'm looking at you, Bryan Singer. Oh, no. Is it Bryan Singer? Who's the idiot who made Star Wars Episode 7? Last Jedi. Because again, that dude, you see all his movies, and they're pretty good. Like, most of his movies are pretty good. No, it's not Bryan Singer. Sorry. It's... What's his name? Rian Johnson. Okay, so Rian Johnson, you see his movie, you see Knives Out, it's pretty good. He did Brick, if I'm not mistaken, that I really liked. Looper, I thought it was phenomenal. He directed a few episodes of Breaking Bad, so he's a great director. But he clearly didn't understand Star Wars, or he hated Star Wars. So this feels very similar to me. Somebody who's a good director with drama, small stuff. Narnia is kind of big, so we'll see how that goes. Next little piece of news. Director Zack Snyder says that he has plans to release a Sucker Punch director's cut. Now, for those of you who never watched the movie, Sucker Punch stars Emily Browning as Baby Doll, a young woman committed to a mental hospital at the beginning of the film. When trapped there, Baby Doll journeys into a fantasy world alongside 4 other patients, all of whom are trying to escape the institution prior to being lobotomized. A lot of people hated this movie. I didn't love it. I'm a Zack Snyder fan. I didn't love it. However, Zack Snyder's saying that he wants to do a director's cut. There's a little bit of a spoiler here, so I won't read the whole thing. But basically, the original theatrical cut was rated PG-13, and he wants to do an R-rated extended cut. So it'll add 18 more minutes and will be included in the Blu-ray, right? I'm all in. R-rated, listen, Zack Snyder is an R-rated director. Doing anything that's not R-rated is stupid. Every single movie that I've seen from Zack Snyder, I'm like, okay, except 300. 300 was money in the theaters. But most of that, I see them and I'm like, all right, it's okay. I enjoyed it. But then I see the director's cut or the extended edition, and I'm like, this is awesome. This is epic. Yes. Like, Batman v Superman is the perfect example. You see it in theaters and you're like, meh. You see the extended cut and you're like, okay, so this is what we were going for? This is good. This is actually pretty good. Justice League. All right, well, that doesn't count, really. But every single thing that I've seen from Zack Snyder that's Watchmen, the extended edition, way better. So, or the director's cut, way better. So I'll give it a shot. You know, it's basically a bunch of hot chicks doing hot stuff. It's gonna be rated R, kicking ass, bloody. Cool. Why not? I met a lot of people who are really hardcore fans of this movie, like hardcore. So like I said, I'm a fan of the director. Meh on the movie, but you know, I'm in for rated R director's cuts. Why not? Like the Justice League, exactly, just like the Justice League. Next, speaking of the Justice League, we now kind of have an idea of what the Ben Affleck solo Batman movie was supposed to be about. And so, I'll just read you the article here. Storyboard artist Jay Olivia has revealed some details about Ben Affleck's canceled solo Batman movie. I gotta tell you, this was one of the movies that I was the most excited about. One, because Batman is my favorite superhero, and I think he's the best superhero out there, bar none. Easily the best one. Not always the best used, but to me, he's the best. Why? Because he's a dude. He's a dude facing supernatural beings. So you need to find a way to make a dude defeat a god. So that's always fun. If, as a mental exercise for a writer, that's always fun. But you can put him against something that's as low as, you know, a crime boss, and it's still believable that it would be complicated for him to take them down. So it's fun. You can just do a lot with a character when he's well written. But I guess you could say that about most characters. Anyway, so I was very excited about this because Ben Affleck, in my humble opinion, is a much better director than an actor. And he's not a terrible actor, other than, you know, what was it? Jiggly and Daredevil. He wasn't great in Daredevil either. But I'm not blaming him so much. It's just that the whole mood of the movie was stupid in general. But whatever. So what did this storyboard artist have to say? Here you go. From my understanding, there were a couple of drafts of it. When I was brought on, I don't know whether it was the second draft or something, but it was what Goff, Johns, and Ben had shown me. Ben's story was going to cover something that had never really been covered in comics, but was building off of storylines in the Batman mythos over the last 80 years and approaching it from a new kind of perspective. So, this is the problem with trying to reinvent the wheel. Clearly, Ben Affleck wanted to do something different, right? And we know that he dropped out from this project because it just became too much. Like, he didn't really know where to go, and also he was going through some personal stuff, and so he bowed out. And it's the problem with, you're trying to do something original with a character that's existed longer than you've been alive. It's a bad idea. Because, one, you're going to have to, what are you going to do? You're going to read everything? You're going to watch everything? No. You're trying to reinvent the wheel. Don't try to reinvent the wheel. Not with a character as iconic as Batman. Not with a character that has so many stories that haven't been told yet. One of my favorite Batman storylines, and it's completely stupid, but I enjoyed reading it a lot. I mean, a lot. Was a storyline where there was a villain made an attempt at some Wayne Enterprises thing, and Bruce Wayne almost got killed, but we know Bruce Wayne's Batman, so he was fine. And so the board of Wayne Enterprises was like, Bruce Wayne, you need to have a bodyguard. And so they hire a chick to be Batman's bodyguard, and to me it's hysterical because I think a lot of the comics are told from the perspective of the chick, and she's just going nuts because Batman doesn't want a babysitter. He wants to be able to, to disappear to actually help out, but she's trying to keep an eye on Bruce Wayne and protect him. So it's really, I thought it was super funny. I'm not even gonna say it's the best. I'm just saying I really enjoyed it because it adds an extra complication to Batman that's superhuman. Well, I mean, but I don't mean superhuman. I mean very realistic, down to earth. It was fun to read. So they could have just done something with that's different. But I don't know. I don't know why. They keep trying to reinvent the wheel, trying to do something from a different perspective. How about if you just do what the fans like? This is what drives me nuts. It drives me nuts about them wanting to change or do something new with a franchise that already exists. You don't have to, all right? You don't. You can just do what is already there. Just change the medium. And the fans will be happy, and the new people will probably enjoy it, because if it was good enough to have fans in the first place. You know what I'm saying? I don't understand it. They do it a lot, but whatever. Point is, it would have been interesting to see a Ben Affleck Batman movie, because I think he's a good director. However, after reading this, I don't think it's that big of a loss. At least, not in my humble opinion. Next, sticking with DC, Dwayne "The Rock" Johnson did an interview recently, or actually a sit down with Kevin Hart, where he talked about Black Adam 2 not happening in James Gunn's DCU. And I actually have a clip of it, so I'll just play the clip for you. Let me switch this to full screen.
That was a question out of Wall Street. That was a question out of Hollywood. That was a question like, wait a second. You had the biggest opening of your career. Sure, no China. That could have been maybe 100, maybe 200 more million dollars. You're establishing a new superhero. You want to grow out the franchise. You bring back Superman and Henry Cavill. The world went crazy.
Okay, I think he already told the part that I care about. The movie was successful. It didn't open in China. Again, it was during COVID and all that stuff. And for a biggest opening of his career, and they brought back Henry Cavill, Superman, all that stuff. And so these are the decisions that concern me about the DCCU going forward. What the hell James Gunn is doing? He had something that was successful, and then he's like, if that, I don't want to do it. So it concerns me. And I just realized that I don't think I ever did a proper Black Adam review. I'm not sure. Maybe I did. I should probably check my channel. If not, let me just tell you really quickly. The movie was okay. I felt the same way I did watching it, the same way about the way I felt about Godzilla, King of Monsters and all that stuff. This movie would be phenomenal if it wasn't for the fucking humans. All right, there's a mom and her kid in this movie. They just ruined the fucking movie. They keep speaking up when they shouldn't, right? There's a point where Dr. Fate is talking or saying a plan, and the girl keeps interrupting him, saying like, we have to do this. It's like, shut the fuck up. Let the mystical super being speak. Let's see what he has to say. You're in a room with superpowered beings. Maybe shut the fuck up. I don't know. Maybe shut the fuck up, but whatever. There also really bugged me that the kid used a skateboard in a third world country. As somebody who grew up in a third world country, it's not really, skateboard central. Like you don't find that many smooth surfaces. Also, he has like 20. I don't know. It felt really off. Again, take out all the human stuff. The movie could have been okay. If we're talking about fights, there's a big flaw in the fights of Black Adam, and to me, it all has to do with Dr. Fate. Now, Dr. Fate was phenomenal. For those of you who don't know him, Dr. Fate is basically the Doctor Strange of that world. But he was played by Pierce Brosnan. To me, he was the best character, the best cast character in that movie. Second to Black Adam would be number 2. But there were fights between Hawkman and Black Adam. And in every single fight, they kind of seemed to forget that Dr. Fate was there. I don't know why. And to me, like if I'm directing this, I would have made it so, because Hawkman can't take on Black Adam 1-to-1. That's not a fair fight, right? And so, because Black Adam is Superman tier, Hawkman is not on Superman level, not on his level of fighting. So what I would have done is have Dr. Fate be the distraction and while Hawkman, takes strategic hits, add a little bit of strategy to the fight. It could have been fun. The fights would have been way longer. But for some reason, they kept forgetting that Dr. Fate was there. And Dr. Fate just multiplied and randomly attacked him by himself. And while he was holding him, nobody seemed to be hitting Black Adam. I don't know if they added Dr. Fate afterwards. But it's really weird because when Dr. Fate fights, it's just by himself. It makes no sense. Honestly, it's doesn't just not make any sense. It's really fucking retarded. Whoever wrote that is an idiot. But anyway, moving on. So the movie's, it's fine. It's not the worst. It's not the best. Bringing Henry Cavill back is like, oh yeah, this is great. But then, you know, they let everybody down afterwards by firing Henry Cavill. So, all right, well, now I'm not excited for the next one. And again, I'm a little bit concerned to what the future of the DCCU is going to be. But whatever, I've been concerned for a very long time. Next, what is it? Okay, so Warner Bros. According to David Zaslav, who I believe, if I'm not mistaken, is the CEO of Discovery Plus. For those of you who don't know, there's currently strikes going on between actors, writers and actors in Hollywood are currently on strike. And according to the CEO of Discovery Plus, Warner, who by the way owns Warner Brothers, again we're still sticking within the same DC vein. Warner Brothers has saved over $100 million in Q2 due to the strikes. So, because of the negotiations. So, I told you this was going to happen. Like, I said it. The studios are set up for a really long time. They're set up for a few years. It's not going to be great. Right now, Warner Brothers is making a lot of money because of Barbie and stuff. But they're not going to do terrible. And they're saving a bunch of money on salaries and stuff. I think actors are going to cave before the studios do. That's just my humble opinion. But, you know, we'll see. According to this dude, he's expecting the strikes to end by September. But all right, but just let's do the math. I think I saw an article where, you know, there's a fund where actors have collected $13 million to pay all the SAG-AFTRA people who are on strike, you know, the lower tier people. $13 million is a lot of money. But Warner Brothers has saved over $100 million in Q2 alone. One of these things is bigger than the other. So we'll see how it goes. And finally, we move on to The Witcher. And so in order to talk about The Witcher, I had to watch season 3. Now, I didn't watch the whole thing. And by not watching the whole thing, I mean, I had it on in the background and while I was doing other stuff because I was annoyed. I was bored after episode 1 because it was extremely stupid. And afterwards, let's just say it doesn't get any better. All right. So this is, I'll tell you what the producer did, and then I'll tell you my thoughts about season 3. So the Witcher producer says they need to simplifying the plot is necessary for modern audiences. So this is executive producer Tomek Baginski, all right, Tomek Baginski. It's gonna be really hard to keep saying, so I'm just gonna call him Tomek, all right. Interview with Wyborska, I don't know what it is, but Baginski stated, I'll just read you the whole statement. When a series is made for a huge mass of viewers with different experiences from different parts of the world, and a large part of them are Americans, this simplification not only makes sense, they are necessary. All right? Simply put, Americans are too stupid to get the story, so we need to dumb it down for you. You idiots. Baginski stated, it's painful for us, and for me too. Your stupidity's hurting me. I'm the victim here. Your stupidity is making me destroy an IP that we all love because you're stupid. Anyway, and for me too. But the higher level of nuance and complexity will have a smaller range. It won't reach people. Sometimes it may go too far, but we have to make these decisions and accept them. You see, it's because you're too stupid. You don't get it. You won't. It's too nuanced. You won't understand. So I need to make things crappy in order for you to get it, because you're an idiot. You're dumb. You're beyond retarded. So I'm going to grab this IP and I'm going to make it, you know, I'm going to destroy it. This thing that you love, I'm going to destroy it because clearly you can't get it. I mean, it's not like you were a fan before and you read the books and you played the video game and you understood it and you loved it. Clearly, you didn't get it because you're too dumb. You're so stupid you don't understand why you even loved it in the first place. So we need to ruin it for you. We're doing this for you, okay? See, I'm the hero here, right? I'm not the villain. You are. I'm saving you from your own stupidity. Got it? That's what he's saying. That's what he's saying to you. That's the thing that drove me fucking nuts watching Game of Thrones the last seasons. Because I'm like, how stupid do you think I am? How stupid do you think we are? And I know what people are saying, like, listen, some people, you know, the whole audience, blah, blah, they're not that stupid. Fuck the stupid people, all right? Fuck them. These books were already written. It already had a fan base. The video games already had a fan base. That means that there was already, you already had a base. And that base understood it. And if they didn't understand it, they still liked it anyway. So, you could just keep things the same, assuming that the people who got it will keep getting it and they'll still keep loving it. But since you wanted, and then assume that when you bring the rest of the people in, they'll like it for the same reasons, because it was good. Even if it's nuanced, they would still get it because it's good. But no, because you're idiots. And we, not only do we think you're idiots, we know you're idiots. And so we're going to save you from your own stupidity, and you would hate it if it was actually, nuanced, because you're stupid. I'm not going to present you something that's nuanced because you won't get it, and you'll hate it. So I'm going to give you something that's simplified so you won't hate it, even though you do. And the reason why you do hate it is because you're stupid, right? So you wouldn't get it because you're stupid, and you don't get it because you are stupid. Either way, it's your fault because you're stupid. Got it? Got it? All right? It's your fault. You and me, I guess, because I'm also the target audience here. We're too stupid. We're too stupid to get it, right? Cool. All right. Next, let's see what's the Gwent. They should have added Gwent. Sure. So, what is season 3 besides a whole fucking mess? And again, after reading this, it really listen. I'm not gonna watch anything Witcher again. I'm done. I was a little bit curious about the Liam Hemsworth stuff, but I'm like, you know what? Fuck it. No, you don't deserve anything. Why? Because again, you think I'm an idiot, and it was clear that you kind of thought I was an idiot, but this season made it way worse. So, things that bug me personally, I already said it earlier before, when you create a world and that world has rules, I hate it when people break them for no fucking reason, right? If you've established the world, you can't just break the rules of that world. It's stupid, right? I get it's fantasy. Fantasy, you have the privilege of breaking rules because of magic, but you need to be able to justify it. And one thing that always bugged me, let's say, for example, Game of Thrones. I hate it when characters just teleported themselves across the map. Now, it takes months to go from one castle to another. Like, to leave the north, it takes months. And I hate it when a character was just having a conversation in freaking Winterfell and then suddenly appeared in freaking King's Landing. I hated it. It drove me nuts. And I know a lot of people are saying, like, dude, it doesn't really matter. Like, the geography, why do you care? I care because the opening of the show was a map! The map of the world was the opening of the show. So they're telling you where absolutely everything is on the opening. The map is kind of a big deal. There's a big table that's the whole fucking map. All right? It's kind of a big deal. So that really bugged me. All right? In The Witcher, we know the map because we played the video games. Or the people who play the videos, we understand. And they do the same thing. Characters just magically appear where they needed to be, and they magically find the people who they need to find. Like, there's a situation where Geralt is off doing his own thing, and Ciri and Yen are off doing their own thing, and then Ciri tells Yen, like, F you, I hate you, and she leaves. And as she's leaving, the Wild Hunt starts chasing her, and out of fucking nowhere, Geralt shows up, and he uses magic to make the Wild Hunt disappear, basically. So, first off, not gonna happen. Like, Geralt is not that, he doesn't have that level of power. But how did he know where she was? How did he know she was in trouble? It's so fucking stupid. And it's one of those things that as they're writing it, I've given this example many times. There has to be a point where the people in the room have to say, you know what? The audience is too stupid. So they won't care. They won't question this stuff. And I'll give you the perfect example. It's the same example that I've always used in Game of Thrones. Let me just see. What Zachary Cruz, what up, D-Money? I miss your rants on the show. I miss ranting sometimes too on the show. It's important. People need to be told the truth. Anyway, so Game of Thrones. It's a very simple scene, right? Theon is escaping from Winterfell with Sansa, right? That Sansa, she'd just been the prisoner of the bastard. I forget the bastard Bolton, and so they're running away through the woods, and they're being chased by dogs, Ramsay's dogs, who we know are people killers, and so they catch up to them, and there's a dog right in Sansa's face. The hounds are right at Sansa's face, and out of nowhere, Brienne shows up and Pod shows up, and they beat up all the soldiers, and they save Sansa, right? They have this fight and all this stuff, and the whole time I'm thinking, well, what about the dogs? The dogs that were right in the girl's face, the people killing dogs. So if I have, a girl basically dead to rights because, I got my people killing hounds right in her face, and a knight shows up out of nowhere, clearly trying to save her, I'd be like, hey, bitch, throw down your fucking weapon or I'm letting go of the dogs that'll kill her. And or you let go of the dogs and, I don't know, have them maul Sansa. Or, I don't know, like, maybe they'll attack Brienne. I don't know. The point is, what happened to the fucking dogs, right? And I know what you're thinking. Dario, come on, that's a little detail. They could have overlooked it, blah, blah, blah. No. And let me explain why. For those of you who've never been in a writer's room. So, somebody writes the scene. The scene says, Theon and Sansa try to escape through the snow. They get caught up by these dudes. The hounds find Sansa. Brienne shows up with Podrick. They fight. And so after the fight, they talk to Sansa and Theon, whatever. They beat the dudes and they escape. And so as they're reading this, somebody, either one of the writers or the producer or the director, somebody has to ask, well, what about the dogs? Really, what do you mean about the dogs? Like, yeah, there were dogs in the scene. They were in Sansa's face. What happened? And either nobody asked about the dogs or somebody said, fuck it. People won't notice. They're too stupid. People are too stupid to notice. But I'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Let's assume that nobody asked the question because nobody thought about the dogs. Well, they need to hire somebody to bring in the dogs, right? They need to have a dog wrangler. They need to have a trainer of some kind because, you're going to have dogs and you need dogs that bark and all that stuff. And the person who they hired bringing the dogs, or I'm assuming the producer at that point, because, they have to hire the people and stuff. And then the choreographer of the scene needs to decide how they're going to go and blah, blah. The actor who's holding the dogs, they need to plan all these stuff. None of these people asked the question of, okay, so what about the fucking dogs? Damn it, the camera got overheated again. Let me just switch here. All right. So none of these questions. Like in this, I already mentioned like 7 people that should have been asking the question, what about the dogs? Particularly, the choreographer, the producer who hires the people, the actor holding the dogs. Nobody's asking about the fucking dogs. Or either they all forgot, or they were like, the audience is too stupid. They won't know. They won't notice. They're too stupid. And again, as I'm watching this, I'm really pissed off because I'm the audience who they think is too stupid. But anyway, then the editor doesn't notice or doesn't ask any questions. Or when he asks, they say, fuck him, the audience is too stupid. Make it in a way that they won't notice. And then that goes to a subtitler. And it really offends me because as a subtitler, I noticed that you actually have a continuity sheet and all this stuff. And you have to keep the names of every character, how they go in, how they die. So you watch every frame of a TV show and a movie. And then the subtitler doesn't. I noticed mistakes in a few shows. Like, I'll give you a super easy one that I noticed. There's a TV show called... what was it called? La Cabeza de Joaquín Murrieta, the head of Joaquín Murrieta. It's an Amazon show. And there was a point where a girl is walking next to a bunch of wanted posters, and the wanted posters are in Spanish. And then they do a close-up because she walks up to the poster, and they do a close-up of the poster, and the poster's in English. So I sent a note to the appropriate people, and I was like, hey, this thing was in Spanish in the wide shot, now it's in English in the close-up. And for the next version of that, they send it in the proper languages and stuff. So again, there's supposed to be people looking out for this stuff. And we mentioned, at least somebody like me, I mentioned stuff when I noticed continuity errors. But in this whole line of people, again, we're talking dozens, if not hundreds of people who should have asked, what about the dogs? Every single one of them forgot, they didn't notice, they didn't care, or the producer said, fuck it, they're too stupid. And at least this guy's saying it outright. You know, at least this guy's saying, yeah, fuck them, they're too stupid. And because they're too stupid, we need to change everything, you know? Because of course we need to make terrible casting decisions because they're too stupid. They wouldn't get it. They wouldn't know a hot chick if, you know, if they hit him in the face. I don't know. That's what they're saying. Because I read stuff about the casting director, and let me see if I could read the quote here. But basically, where's the casting director note? I had it here. She wanted to change people's unconscious bias and challenge the standards of beauty. So first off, I love that freaking phraseology, changing the standards of beauty. Challenge the standards of beauty. Because it's a nice way of saying, I want ugly people. It's a nice way of saying, I think these people are ugly, but I'm going to challenge the standards of beauty. Like, I know you're objectively ugly, but I'm going to do it anyway because I'm challenging the standard. It's a decision. But if you're making a show, listen, The Witcher had appeal for both men and women. You have the fantasy world that most boys are fans of because, again, more boys play The Witcher than the girls. More boys are more into fantasy than girls. I'm not saying that all boys. I'm not saying all girls. In general, the fan base was mostly males. But however, a bunch of girls loved watching the show. They loved the first season because of Henry Cavill. And by the way, I have had this rant many times. Most girls only watch superhero movies because the main character is hot. That's why they watch Thor. That's why they watch Captain America. That's why they watch any of those movies. It's because the main character is hot. They don't care about the story. They don't care about any stuff. They care about watching the hot guy. At least the girls that I've talked to. Anyway, so who are you doing this for? All right, the guys wanted to watch a hot chick. All right, we know what Trish Marigold is supposed to look like. Why wouldn't you just put a hottie in there? I don't get it. And you know what? I understand the argument to be diverse. I understand. But couldn't you at least pick a hottie? Like, seriously? Pick a different ethnicity if you want to be diverse or whatever. But at least pick a hottie. Like, who are you doing this for? Is this show for you or is it for the fans? Well, obviously, the fans are too stupid, right? I'm too stupid to understand what you're doing. I'm too stupid to get it. So you have to do it for you. Because you just wanted to grab the Witcher and use it as a skin suit. And Henry Cavill was kind of in the way. So Henry Cavill leaves the show. Then you make Blood Origins, which is the lowest rated Netflix TV show of all time. And now the show's on hiatus. So deservedly so. Because it got too fucking ridiculous and too fucking stupid. What do you mean by too stupid? Like, first off, teleporting characters. Immediately a bad idea. But let me just give you this particular storyline. So, Frangilla, all right? Let me see. I wrote it here. Frangilla, all right? She was a mage that basically she committed murder and treason, right? Bad chick. What do you think her punishment for treason and murder was? Well, she was being punished by being made to drink wine. That was her punishment. She had to drink wine. Why? Because the wine might be poisoned. And so she needed to drink it. Now, not tasting it right before, the king drank it or something. No, just the whole time, just drinking wine. That was her punishment for treason and murder. And how did she escape this totally terrible situation for her liver? Well, one of the tasters right next to her died, and so they brought out a body bag, and just like, in the Count of Monte Cristo or in many other situations before, she took the place of said cadaver, right? Except that she goes in the bag right next to all the other prisoners, and nobody says shit. Nobody's like, hey, get the fuck out of there, I want to do it. And she doesn't even hide the body. And then the guards just throw the body down a hill. They don't bury it. They don't set it on fire. They don't throw it into, like the water or something. No, they just leave it out there to attract wild beasts, wild magical beasts, or, to spread disease. I don't know. It's stupid. It's beyond fucking stupid. And you know what they're saying? It's because they're too stupid. You're too stupid You wouldn't understand if we made a complex escape plan. You wouldn't get it, all right? You're too dumb. So we need to make things that are stupid for you. On the other hand, maybe you're too stupid to come up with something good. You know? Maybe you didn't get the stories. Maybe you didn't even fucking read the books. Maybe you are not talented. Maybe you're a fucking hack. Maybe you're nowhere near on the level of the author of the original books. And maybe you're the one who just isn't good enough to write something that's understandable. And listen, I get it. I got it with Game of Thrones. I get it with The Witcher. It's a complex story. It's not easy to follow. You need to pay attention. I get it. That's not, an excuse for shitty writing. You can simplify stuff for sure. You can even make some things repetitive. So let's say there's a character named, Alex, who killed the king in episode 2 of season 1, all right? Then that character disappears for 2 seasons, and then he comes back. Well, I get that not everybody's going to remember who the fuck Alex is or what king he killed or whatever. You can just have a character say the line, you're gonna trust Alex, the king killer? The guy who caused all this stuff? Really? It's that simple! This is not hard! This is not fucking rocket science. And then people be like, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, that's the guy who did that. Thank you. That's it. It's one line. That's it. And there's a bunch of wasted time in this fucking season. They just keep having the same conversations over and over. Then they do a thing that I call lampshading. Well, I don't call it. Well, I do call it lampshading, but it's called lampshading. And lampshading it's a term that came from theater. And they did this a lot in Game of Thrones. But it's basically, you know how there's one guy chasing another guy on stage, right? And then the guy who's being chased grabs a lampshade and he puts it on his head. And so the other guy's like, oh, where did this guy go? Blah, blah, blah. So the audience really knows. And it's just the guy chasing him is too stupid, blah, blah. So it's basically you say something, I say something, and we acknowledge it, and then we move on because it's convenient. So I don't know if you guys remember, but in the previous season, Yennefer kind of tried to sell Ciri's soul to a demon. Which, I don't know about you guys, but in my book, it's fucking unforgivable. Right? On the list of things that I'm willing to, forgive, selling my soul to a demon. Not on it. Not on the list of things that I'm willing to be like, all right, I get it. It's your bad. No, fuck you. I would never forgive it. In fact, I would use you until I don't need you anymore and then I'd betray you because fuck you. You wanted to sell my soul to a demon. And you know what? I think I'd be justified. But anyway, maybe Ciri's kinder hearted than that. But I don't think you can recover from it. And here they kind of just lampshaded through it. All right. So Ciri did mention it once. And then afterwards, it's like, okay, well, we'll move on from this. It's stupid. The worst part of this show, the worst part of this season is that what's the name of the show? The Witcher. What does a Witcher do? Hunt monsters, right? What is the thing that doesn't happen in this season? Witcher hunting monsters. Now, monsters do appear and he does kill them, but there was no really monster hunting here. In fact, Geralt is barely a part of the story. It's more Yen's story and Ciri's story. And I don't know if you know this, but the main character of the books in the video game and the title of the freaking show is The Witcher. The character that we care about is The Witcher. I fucking hate Yen. I hate Yennefer. I hate her in the books. I hate her in the video games. And credit to the actress. I hate her in the show too, which means she did a good job because, I hate the character in general. So, let me see. Lol, Dario heated, Jake Crandall. It's all done for the DEI. Yes. Check your blood pressure, man. Listen, I probably shouldn't. I might stop, but point is, why would they do all this stuff? Why? It's because they didn't care. Now, I looked into it. One of the producers of the show, Lauren something, she said that she'd never done fantasy stuff, and I was concerned at first. And I actually met this person. She seemed really nice. She said she was going to stick to the books. She didn't, clearly. And you can see how things start falling apart. The fights suck. There's a few fights that are kind of good, and I looked into it. Those are the fights where Henry Cavill had the most input. Everything else sucks. And it's beyond stupid, and they do stuff just to force the story forward. Perfect example. The first episode, they set up this crazy plan to kill the fire mage guy, right? They're going to kill the fire mage. They set up a trap for him. there's a situation where Geralt is alone with the guy. He's incapacitated, and all he has to do is grab his sword, turn around, take his head off, or whatever. You know, just poke him a few times. Easy. Instead, Geralt turns around, grabs his sword, and runs away. So instead of taking half a second to kill a dude, because he's a Witcher, he moves pretty fast, he decides to leave him alone. And then at the end of that episode, they're like, we need to split up because I need to go get this guy. So it's like, what the fuck are you talking about? So he couldn't just kill him then. I mean, he could have. But he didn't because the writers needed to find a reason for these characters to split up. That's it. That's the only reason why. And everybody just seems to forget about betrayal. Like, Yennefer walking back to the mages group after, again, she was a traitor, like it's nothing. Frangilla. There's a scene, and I kid you not, and I wrote it down again, where Tishaya, you know, the mage, you know, super powerful sorceress, they do a coup in the mages tower, so they capture all the mages, and they capture Tishaya, and they bring her into the room with all the other mages, and she doesn't have any cuffs on. Everybody else is cuffed. She's not cuffed. And then, shocker, she goes around freeing everybody else. And, you know, then the mages, you know, they start fighting back and they win. I was like, what the fuck? What the fuck is this? Not that she managed to find a clever way of, you know, of removing the handcuffs. No, they never even gave her handcuffs. Why? Because you're too stupid. You'd be too stupid to understand her using a lockpick. You're too stupid to get it. All right? It's your fault. It's your fault that they're crappy, that they have to write crappily. Not that they're crappy writers. Not that they can't come up with anything. Not that they can't come up with anything good. Even if it's already been fucking written. It's you. You're the idiot. You're stupid. All right? It's because of you. And we hate you. Right? So, that's it. It's, and I'm supposed to feel bad for these a-holes when they're on strike? No. You deserve nothing. You deserve less than nothing. You deserve to lose. All right? In fact, I'm happy every day that you lose money, and I'm happy that every day that Warner Brothers is saving money because they're not paying your stupid ass, talentless ass. It's ridiculous. God. Let me see the other stuff that I wrote down here. Oh, yeah. Closer to the end, because I don't really care, and I'm going. Geralt loses a fight, and he loses a fight, I think, like on a beach. The next time we see Geralt, he's drowning. He's kind of was dying on the beach, and then all of a sudden he's drowning. And by the way, I remember the producer saying, like, no, we're gonna give Henry Cavill's Geralt, you know, like a hero's goodbye and all this stuff. No, they didn't. In fact, they kind of gave him a villain's exit, because there's a point where Geralt kills like 12 dudes over a toy. I'm not kidding. Literally, a guard steals a toy from a girl, and this guy, and he just starts killing people like crazy. It's like, that's the hero's exit, really? Kind of making him look like a psychopath here, you know? And it doesn't seem right. And there's a scene where Geralt cries. And so, I don't know if you know this. Maybe you haven't played the games. But there's a kind of a famous line in one of the games where Geralt, after losing somebody who's extremely close to him, says, I don't know how to cry. I can't, something like that. I don't know how. Like, I can't cry. I don't know how. So Witchers really don't know how. Like, they're supposed to be emotionless and all that stuff. Like, almost, he wants to feel grief, but he can't. And it's one of those things where you're watching it and you're just like, man, I can imagine Henry Cavill being like, no. And quoting the line from the game. Geralt even says he can't cry. Why do you want to make him cry? And you know why he's crying? Because his mother died, right? The mother who abandoned him and who he met only while he was coming out of her vagina. That mother, and he's like, oh no, my mommy died. I never met her, but she's dead. I don't even know how they know she's my mother, but she's dead. Also, I'm assuming that she was, 80? Because Geralt's not a young dude. And so, like, they knew somehow, and she lived a really long life in a medieval period. I don't know what the fuck. I don't know their justification for it. He's not 80, he's a little bit younger, but, you know, Witchers live a little bit longer. Anyway, so it's one of those things where you're like, Henry Cavill, they keep telling him this, and like, you gotta cry and all that stuff. And I could just picture him going into his mind and be like, man, just crying for Geralt, for what they did to the man, for what they're doing to the Witcher. And he just, like, he lets it go, man. He hates it. He's like, I gotta quit this job. They're killing something that I love. They're destroying it for the dumbest fucking reasons. It makes no sense. None of it makes any sense. It's a mess from beginning to end. The CGI is not even great. Now, some monsters look pretty cool, but there's like a 3-headed monster thing that looks beyond fucking stupid. Like, I could do that in freaking, and I'm not that great of an editor. In fact, I'd say that I'm in the lower tier, mediocre, maybe. God, Angry Dario is the best. What does everybody want me angry? Why? I don't get it. I don't understand. I try to be happy. I try to be a nice guy. I don't like being upset. I'd rather be here saying it was great. It's such a tragedy that Henry Cavill's leaving because the show is pretty good. But no, I have to complain about idiots who think that you're idiots. That's the worst kind of idiot. The idiot who thinks he's smart, because an idiot who knows he's an idiot at least knows he's an idiot, right? And he's aware of it. And he's like, whatever. I don't know about that stuff. I'll move on. Or I'll defer to somebody who knows. And they just move on with their lives. But the idiot who thinks he's smart thinks that you're an idiot. And so he treats you like an idiot when they're the ones doing idiotic things. It's like they're pouring gasoline on themselves and they're like, you guys are stupid, man. This stuff's going to make me waterproof. You're like, not in the way you think. You're doing something that's stupid, but you're looking at me like I'm the idiot. I think you're wrong. He's like, no, you don't get it, man. If you're wet with gasoline, you can't get wet with water, and so you won't get sick. You're like, listen, it's a theory. I wouldn't say it's a good theory, but all right, go ahead. It's like, all right, let's say maybe gasoline's too crazy. Maybe like with oil. It's like, I'm covering myself in oil. That way oil and water don't mix, man. And so I got this protective thing against water. I won't get wet. I'm like, sure. But you also, you're at greater risk of being set on fire. Also, I think it's less healthy to be covered in oil than to be covered in water. That's just me. Again, maybe I'm the idiot. Maybe I'm one of those idiots who thinks he's actually smart. Maybe. I don't know. Maybe I can't see the forest for the trees. But god fucking damn it, this is annoying, right? But it's nice to hear. It's nice to hear. I'm happy that this dude said that because I've had that. That's how I felt. Watching Game of Thrones, that's how I felt. I'm like, do they think I'm stupid? They have to think I'm an idiot. They have to think I'm an idiot if I'm going to believe this. They just have to. And everybody was like, no, you're looking too deep into this. You don't get it. But now they're fucking admitting it. All right, they're saying it out fucking loud. The casting lady says it out loud. I don't give a fuck about finding the actress who's best suited for the role. Fuck you. The best suited for the character? Fuck you. I have my own agenda. And my agenda is putting ugly people on screen. Why? Because fuck you. Not only am I not giving you a good story, I'm giving you ugly people on TV. Why? Because fuck you. You're an idiot. You don't get it. All right? You may have liked this silly little Witcher franchise where there's this magical monster hunter that society hates him and who has to annoyingly travel all around the world on his horse and everybody hates him. He does little missions for people that are actually pretty interesting storylines and he has to follow this wizard chick who sucks, is really annoying, but for some reason he's really into her, who has this surrogate daughter who's being hunted by supernatural forces and they're tied by destiny. No, fuck you and your stupid show, okay? It's not about him. It's about the girls. It's about the world. Fuck you, all right? And it's going to be about what I want. Because fuck you, all right? You're stupid. That story that you love, that I just broke down, the nuances of this fantasy world that's too complex. You don't get it, all right? You love it, but you don't get it because you're too fucking stupid. You're an idiot. You're a moron. We need to save you from yourself because fuck you, So that's it. That's how I feel. Have you ever worked on your car? Cleaning greasy hands with water doesn't work? Just saying. Yes, listen, I get it. There's a reason why I use that as an example. However, thinking that it's better to be covered, in oil and grease, which is highly more flammable than, let's say, water, doesn't seem like a particularly good idea. And speaking of fire, I remember, maybe I'm an idiot. Maybe I have a bad memory. But I thought that there was a point in this series where they made it perfectly clear that there were consequences to using fire magic. The most powerful magic. And there were consequences to using it. And then all of a sudden, this season, everybody and their fucking mother is using fire magic with no fucking consequences. Like, really? Seriously? God, again, they just They saw the stuff that not even the stuff that somebody else created, the stuff that they created themselves. And they're like, fuck that guy. He was an idiot. He didn't know what he was doing. I'm going to do what I want. It's lazy. All right. It's just lazy writing. You can find yourself in a difficult situation as a writer, and it's up to you to find a creative way out, not an easy way out. All right. It's called being lazy. It's called being stupid. All right. And then, oh no, it's because they're stupid. They wouldn't get it. Fuck you. That's it. I'm done. That's it. Oh yeah. What else? Oh yeah. Well, every single king in this show is a retard, and I'm saying that nicely because they have to be so fucking stupid to believe all the things that are happening in this world. Whereas in the books, in the movies, they're pretty sharp dudes. Honestly, they're Game of Thrones level stuff. They actually are Machiavellian. Now, so of course, everybody gets tricked, because there's smarter characters out there, but they're not total idiots, and they have advisors who are not total idiots. It's got plot holes up the wazoo. I mean, I'll tell you how stupid they are, all right? King Vizimir is planning on allying himself with Nilfgaard, right? Nilfgaard. And then all of a sudden, he gets a package, and in this package is the head of the queen, right? And he's like, my queen's head. Oh my god, who did this? And there's a note saying, Nilfgaard did it. And he's like, fuck Nilfgaard. Fuck those guys. Our alliance is off. Now I'm going to ally myself with the North. And you're just sitting there like, the fuck? How stupid is this guy? How stupid do they think we are that we're gonna believe this? Seriously? So I'm supposed to believe that a king is so fucking stupid, which I can, kings can be pretty dumb, but he's so fucking stupid that he thought that the people who want to be in an alliance with him, they want to, just decided to cut off the head of the queen because of it'd be fun. It would make their alliance, sturdier. Seriously? God, it's just so fucking stupid from beginning to end. And it's, fuck them. They hate us this much. I hate you back. That's it. Fuck you. I'm not going to watch anymore. I don't care. In fact, if it fails, good. If you don't get a job anymore ever, if AI takes all your jobs from here on in, fuck you. I don't care anymore. I'm done with you guys. You're a bunch of fucking retards. You hate your audience. You don't want to do work. You don't want to read the books. You don't care. You just want to do your own thing. The worst generation of fucking writers in my entire life. Jesus Christ. Not worth your time. Not worth my time. Don't watch it. You'll just hate it. I'll move on. Gus Becerra, I dare you to watch Secret Invasion. I don't want to. Have you watched it, Gus? Because here's my concern. All right. I guess it's a very similar problem that I've had with Pokemon. And I've talked about this before. Pokemon left me behind. They left me behind. They don't care about me anymore. Why? Because I've played the most recent Pokemon games, and they're too easy. They're made for little kids. All right? They add the experience share. They try to simplify it as much as possible. And I'm like, all right, I understand you wanting to give it an easier difficulty for kids. I understand that. I also remember being a little kid when Red, Blue, and Yellow came out and being able to beat the game. Because you may think I'm an idiot, but I'm not as big of an idiot as you think I am. I mean, I can play a video game. And so I have the similar... I complained about that a lot with Falcon and the Winter Soldier, with Loki. It's like, dude, this is made for little kids. It's not made for me. They don't care about me anymore. I mean, they'll take my money, but they don't care about me. They're not making products for me. None of it's for me. Or it's like a little bit, but it's not good. Like, I'd rather watch something else. And so they're losing me little by little. And we're the target audience, right? Males who have money, who would buy stuff, who would enjoy it, who would grab our nieces and nephew to watch this stuff. But now I'm not. I'm not going to do it because it's not fun for me anymore. You think I'm going to sit down with my nieces and nephew and teach them about, I don't know, Loki and the Avengers and all this stuff, slowly building her up to stuff that she can see? when it's a crappy show like that that completely ruins the lore of the entire thing, no, I'm not. I'm gonna make her watch anime because anime is better. So fuck them. I'll just make them watch old stuff with me. We'll sit down and we'll watch the first generation of Pokemon because that one was actually pretty good. We'll sit down and we'll watch, I don't know, Digimon. We'll sit down and we'll watch the old school X-Men cartoon, the old school Spider-Man, because those were actually good. And I could sit down as a grown-ass man and watch and be like, this is actually pretty good. We'll watch the Teenage Mutant fucking Ninja Turtles, because they got hundreds of episodes. We'll watch Nickelodeon. We'll watch Hey Arnold. We'll watch The Angry Beavers. Because there's more than enough good content out there. It's easy to access, and I'm not going to waste my time on stupid crap that's not made for me. It's just not. All right, I'll find something else. But whatever. Man, that Pokemon Yellow was a pain in my ass back in the day. Yes, but it was worth it. You had to grind. You earned the victory. You had the satisfaction. Now it's like, just all they have to do is just add difficulties, right? If they could make it like a little like a little kid version and the adult version. That's all they have to do, difficulty-wise. But they don't want to do it. They don't, because for some reason, companies make the stupid mistake of thinking like, oh, if we target kids, we'll make more money because, you know, blah, blah. Kids don't have money. I've said it a million times. I'll say it again. Kids don't have money. All right? Kids, actually, you know, it's very lucrative because, you know, but kids don't care about quality content. I've seen kid stuff, right? I've been babysitting a lot. Well, not a lot, but I've been babysitting recently, all right? I've had some free time. Kids will watch anything that's in front of them as long as it's colorful and they make silly voices and faces. They don't need quality stuff. You could literally make a kids show with a $2 budget. I'm not kidding. I could make a kids TV show with a $2 budget. It's super easy, right? And it will get millions of views because kids don't care about quality. They care like, oh, it's funny, haha, the voice. That's it. That's why you know how I know? Because I ask him, what do you like about the show? He's funny. He's funny. He makes funny voices. That's it. All right. So the reason why you're making things for little kids is to give yourself an excuse to not make quality stuff, right? Once you go into teens and higher, you got to do quality. And they're like, no, they're too stupid for quality. Maybe you're not good enough. Maybe. All right? That's what I'm hearing. You are not good enough to make something that people could understand. You are not good enough to grab a story that's nuanced and express it in the correct medium. Right? You have to lobotomize it. You have to lobotomize your fucking story. It's because you're a fucking failure and you suck. And anybody who walks into a meeting and is like, well, it's a very nuanced story, so we're going to have to simplify it, fire them. All right? Or at least don't hire them because they're morons. They're not good enough. They don't have the skill. They won't look at that challenge and be like, all right, I got to find a way to do it. And I'll work hard. I'll be creative. I'll find a way to make sure that the audience can understand the nuance of the story because I'll be respectful to. No, fire them. They're not good. They're hacks, all right? They're the worst type of people. They'll take every shortcut that they can find, and they suck, and they'll blame the audience, which is the worst fucking part. I get it. Sometimes the audience does suck. In fact, I'll say it many times. That's not your right. There's not the right audience. All right? Sorry. As The Rock said, you know, the number one boss here is the audience. All right, I get it. You're not going to be able to please everybody. Find your audience. Find the correct audience, right? If I give a bunch of, let's say, 14-year-old girls and I make them watch, let's say, Batman the Animated Series, they're not going to like it as much as a bunch of 14-year-old boys. Different audience, right? If I give a 7-year-old Game of Thrones, they're not gonna get it because they're too little. They're too young. If I give a 70-year-old My Little Pony, he probably won't get it. I hope he doesn't get it. So find the right audience. And when you have an IP that already has an audience, as The Rock says, that's your boss, all right? The people, all you have to do is keep those people happy. And you're good. You don't need to appeal to a wider range of audience because you know what? That'll happen naturally, all right? A bunch of people saw The Witcher because it was on Netflix and because it had Henry Cavill in it. That's it. Girls watched The Witcher because it had Henry Cavill in it. That's it. Literally, all you have to do, grab a famous IP, adapt it as faithfully as you can. The fans won't complain. Put a hot guy in it, put a hot chick in it, and then normies will be like, hey, that was fun. I enjoyed that. Yeah, that's it. It's not hard. This is not difficult. All you have to do is work. It just requires hard work and talent, which you don't have. So, fuck it. I'm done. I'm done with the rant. That's it. It's too hot in here. Like I said, and you know, who is it? Oh wow, there's a lot of comments here. Dario needs a Snickers bar. Have you ever worked? Okay, blah blah. I do need a Snickers bar. I do. I am hungry. Maybe I need another beer. I don't know. I think we need Dario to do a Game of Thrones style rewrite of The Witcher. Listen. No. I could do it with Game of Thrones at the moment because I did every single week, every single episode. I broke it down. I took notes. I was committed to it. And I had fun ripping that show to shreds because it was so stupid. So fucking stupid. And so I could do it. I don't want to put in that level of, you know, brain time into The Witcher. I just don't. It doesn't deserve it. All right? At least Game of Thrones had one great season, a few good ones, and then it went all downhill. The Witcher had one good season, and it's been all downhill afterwards. I know people like season 2. To me, the more I think about it, the more I hate it because they promised us basically, we're going to see a bunch of Witcher training and hunting monsters, and it's going to be cool. And what we get, Geralt not really training Ciri, and Ciri just doing American Ninja Warrior stuff. Why? Because of reasons. So, fuck it. I'm not in. The point is, I'm not in. All right, I can't. There's some things you can rewrite. There's some things that you can't. No, but if you, but I will if you will. I'm assuming you're talking about Secret Invasion. I might. Let me see. When does it even end? I don't even know. Secret Invasion, IMDb. When's the... It's a mini-series, okay. Episode 6. So, it's only 6 episodes? Is it done? I guess I could do it. Listen, fine. Alright, fine. I'll watch it. I'll watch Secret Invasion and I'll let you know what I think. I don't think by next Monday. In fact, I don't even know if there's going to be a show next Monday. Because that's the day that I'm coming back from my trip, and it's like an 8-hour drive. And so I don't think I'm going to make it here in time. But I'll play it by ear. Point is, I'm not excited about it. Now, I've heard that Andor, is that the Star Wars series with Diego Luna? I've heard that's not terrible. So I'm considering giving that a chance first, but I don't know. I'll see. Anyway, that's it. I'm done. As always, it's too hot in here. But as always, comments, questions, or suggestions, you can find me at DarioSDW and at Super Dario World. Share this video, like this video, subscribe to this channel. It really helps me out. So far, numbers I think have been going up, so that's cool. Tomorrow we're going to be doing a Taco Tuesday with my kid brother. We're going to update you on some of the shows that we're watching, and we're going to talk about Batum. It's a great anime. I highly recommend it. And Wednesday, Underrated Gems, probably at 11 a.m. That's probably when I'm going to do it. We're going to be talking about Wind River, and that's it. That's it for today. As always, thank you for joining me, and I'll see you again next time.